This is the YOB ConvoCast, one-on-one conversations with your other brother's authors, community members, supporters, and friends.
What's up, friends, and welcome back to the YOB ConvoCast, conversations with brethren all around your other brothers. This person, this lovely human, hasn't been in these parts since a year ago. It was a year ago this time that he came on this very show, the YOB ConvoCast, with our very first, and at the time, what I thought would be the only ever Super Bowl preview show for people who may or may not be super in tuned with what's going on this Sunday at the big game. Little did I know, little did we know that a year later he would be back doing it again, and probably with a lot more stakes, a lot more buy-in, a lot more interest. Maybe we're gonna get into all of that. It's my other brother and yours, Andy Zuniga. What's up, Andy?
Hello. Now, I must say one thing. You mentioned how I'm not on this podcast very often. I say, nay, I am on every single week because you always like to reference and bring up
true.
Who I am, more specifically, what I sound like.
The voice of the show. Yeah, it's the voice of the podcast network.
This is your current episode.
This is your current episode, Super Bowl preview. What number are we up to now? What number is the Super Bowl?
57.
57.
Super Bowl 57.
LX. No, X. What is it?
It is LVII.
Why the NFL uses Roman numerals for this? No idea. No, we're not going to linger on this too long. It is what it is.
I can't wait for like 30 years from now when it's just ridiculous.
I forgot to say, from the city of choo-choos, Chattanooga,
the city
Tennessee.
of choo-choos,
It's
yes.
Andy, yeah, this is our new tradition. I've decided that pretty much every year, the Super Bowl is too big of a game to just ignore. Because everybody's going to Super Bowl parties. We're all going there for all various reasons. It could be for the game for some people. For, I would think, a bulk of our community, maybe not so much the game as the camaraderie with being other people, or the halftime show. We're going to talk about that today. Or the commercials, which is a big draw for me over the years. So those are some of the reasons. I just feel like it's too big of a cultural thing to just ignore and not devote a show. And this year's Super Bowl LXXVII show is particularly meaningful because my Philadelphia Eagles are in this Super Bowl, so that just makes it all more exciting.
Eagles, fly on the road to victory. I'll sing the whole song if you want me to.
No, we don't have time. I told you this. We already have a limited time frame.
I see plenty of sand in that hourglass back there.
The hourglass.
Excuse me.
It's turning. I have notes, Andy. This is the first ConvoCast I've ever taken notes on.
Sure. You let me know. I have to get a few things out. You let me know when it's time.
It's not time yet.
Yes, by all means.
Super Bowl 101. Yeah, we're going to get to the Super Bowl 101 in a second. And for the moment, though, so if this is a yearly tradition, what's really interesting is that a year ago, I do remember, I didn't listen back to the episode, but I vaguely remember what we talked about. And I remember a year ago, we were talking about Tom Brady retiring and how crazy that was. And now here we are a year later, you're talking about Tom Brady retiring again.
Wild. Yes.
It was like literally the same time frame as last time. Like about a week ago, Tom Brady retired, and here we are once again.
So actually, believe it or not, he re-retired exactly 1 year to the day after he retired last year.
Did he really? So yeah, that checks out. Because I remember it being sort of fresh in my mind with our last year's Super Bowl ConvoCast. So look at that.
Yes.
So do you think he'll be coming back next year and Tom Brady's retiring again?
I want to say that he's done. I want to say that, it's over. I watch a good bit of football. A lot of people said he had a down year. For a guy who had a down year, he was still like the number 3 in the league in passing yards. He could be back. Wow. I think he's done, but deep down, he'll be back. He'll be back.
That's my thought. He just has this horrible divorce And my thought is like football is all he has, and he's not going to.
He can't go out like this. He's the GOAT.
He needs another one. Yeah, but we're not going to talk about Tom Brady that much.
No,
what's really interesting, because he's old. He's like 45.
Yeah. Boo.
Isn't this Super Bowl? Isn't this like the youngest quarterbacks ever, or one of the youngest matchups ever?
Yes,
is it the youngest?
The youngest matchup of quarterbacks ever.
This is where I turn it over to you and just give us some rapid fire. Like, what are some facts about this Super Bowl? For those that don't know and literally have no idea, like, it's the Philadelphia Eagles against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I meant to ask you this at the top too. When you did this episode last year, did you think, did you think you would be back on this show talking about football again? Did you think I would ever let that happen? Or B, if it were to happen, did you think that the Eagles could possibly be in the Super Bowl next year? That's crazy, right?
Let's start with question 2. That's blasphemous. Every year I expect them to be back. Every year they're going to
like good every 5 years.
And 5 years ago, we won the Super Bowl. We'll get to that in a little bit. So here are the storylines for this. But to answer your first question, no, I did not expect you to invite me back to talk about football. Wild.
There is a contingent. I forgot to mention that there was a request. There were requests for you to do this again. So it was received.
Perfect. Well received by the Yobbers.
Now, again, not sure if the vast majority of our Yobbers care for this, but someone did. So there we go.
Okay, there you go. All right, storylines. Okay. Youngest matchup for quarterbacks in Super Bowl history. Jalen Hurts is 24 years old, and Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs is 27 years old. So, youngest quarterback matchup ever.
That's
super fun. Now that Tom Brady and his, going to go retire and be with his grandkids, it's time for the new era, right? It's time for the new era. So now we've got the young bucks out there slinging the old pigskin. So that's super exciting. We also have the first pair of brothers playing against each other in Super Bowl history.
Like other brothers?
They are your other brothers will be playing against each other. Jason Kelce of the Philadelphia Eagles is our starting center. He is a future Hall of Fame player. He is probably the best center in all of football. But for those of you who don't know football, he's a center, which means he's the guy who snaps the ball to the quarterback.
I was going to say, you need to define these terms because people are not tracking. And in my head, I was like, is the center the one? He's the one in the center, right?
He's the one in the middle. You got it. So he
holds the
football.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, he holds the football every play, and then he gives it away. And then
he goes to the Hall of Fame for doing that. Are you kidding me?
He is great, and he is
it's the
one
protecting.
of the best centers
it's
ever.
not the hiking.
Yes,
like he protects
it's
the
protecting.
quarterback.
Yes,
okay,
for sure. And so he's got a really good no sack, no hit rate, no pressure rate, all that. And those are all nerdy stats. But anyways, his brother Travis Kelce is a future Hall of Fame tight end. Yep, they are both like two of the best at their position.
So a tight end, you're not referring to his hindquarters. What are you referring to? What is a tight end?
I am not. Thank you. No, a tight end.
What does that do?
Basically, he is kind of a combination between an offensive lineman who protects the quarterback, but also a wide receiver who catches the football.
Catch the ball, okay.
Yes, so typically tight ends are very big, tall, athletic, and can move a little bit. So they're a little more agile. They're not as slender or quick as a wide receiver, and they're not as big and bulky as an offensive lineman. They're kind of a combo.
This is good. I think you're doing a better job so far in this year's episode of assuming that the listener has no idea what anything is, because I think last year you assumed a lot.
Last year, I think I broke the game down perfectly. And I'm pretty sure people were referencing this episode to their friends.
We're off to a great start.
Throughout the game.
You've already labeled what a center is, a wide receiver, a tight end. I was going to ask about holding later. Why don't you just tell us right now, what is holding? Because are not all of the players holding each other at all times? So what in the world is the penalty holding? Can you explain that in 10 seconds or less?
Yes, there are legal holds and there are illegal holds. Basically, if you have your hands on the inside of the jersey, that's a legal hold. If you are grabbing their throat and they can't breathe, or if you are like just kind of pulling them down by the horse collar behind, illegal. Cannot do it. So basically, good, bad.
Because like for all the watchers out there who's going to watch this game, like you're going to hear holding called like 20 times, and you're just never going to I've just determined, because I'm semi sports savvy. I'm probably more sports savvy than a lot of people listening right now. But that is in football, the penalties, like some of them are obvious, but some of them I have no idea why. Like how do you differentiate that? But thank you. I still don't necessarily understand that, but it's fine.
I'll say this. If you want to score points with the people you're with, whenever they call holding, they'll do an instant replay. Just do yourself a favor. You'll have like a 60% success rate with this. Just yell at the TV, "That's not a hold." You'll get some points with the people you're with. Trust me.
The bros will be like, yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's not holding.
Yeah. That's not holding. Okay. So Andy's teaching you buzz phrases. You can shout out with your friends and
there you go.
And your people. Okay, cool. Any other things to look out for? We got brothers in the Super Bowl. We got the youngest quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. What else are we missing?
Yes, we have one key, big, overwhelming factor in the Super Bowl, and these are the storylines you're going to hear throughout the game. Another big one is going to be, they're going to call this either the Kelsey Bowl, which is the two brothers that are playing against each other, or the Andy Reid Bowl. Now, here's the thing. The head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, his name is Andy Reid. He has been the head coach for the Chiefs for the last, I'd say, 10 years or so. Before he was the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, for 14 years, he was the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. So he was a head coach for the Eagles for a long time. Now he's been the head coach for the Chiefs for a long time. This is going to be one of the biggest storylines for sure. The Eagles loved Andy Reid. I still deeply love Andy Reid. I was rooting for him when he won his first Super Bowl about 4 years ago.
Because he never won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. He took them to the playoffs a bunch, but never won the big game.
Never won the big one.
He won the Super Bowl with the Chiefs however many years ago that was, right?
Yeah, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, he won with them. So it'll be interesting kind of playing against him in the big game. But yeah, that's there's going to be the big-time storylines. You'll hear contract extension talk and yada, yada, maybe a few retirement, buzz things. But yeah, whatever. Well, that's fun. Yeah, those are actually some of the notes that I took because I knew there were brothers in the Super Bowl. I mean, you hit them all. I feel like we're aligned. I was just going to say, so actually at the start of this season, those two brothers started a podcast together called New Heights. Just to give a little plug in there if you're actually interested in their little dynamic, because they are super like they've got really good chemistry and they're fun together, just kind of chit-chatting. And so this is the year they started their podcast, and it obviously leads all the way to the Super Bowl. So this past week's episode was kind of interesting, just hearing them talk about what it's like to play against each other and all that. And their mom, I think, is going to be at the game with like a split Chiefs Eagles jersey, like a custom made.
That has got to be so devastating.
I can't imagine
for a parent to have to cheer for each side, or like this happened with the Phillies. Because I don't know if you know this, the Phillies were in to go into baseball talk for a second, baseball/brothers talk. There's a Phillies starting pitcher, Aaron Nola. His brother Austin Nola was a catcher for the San Diego Padres, and they faced each other in the playoffs this year. And,
didn't know that.
And it was like, yeah, parents in the stands, same thing, like wearing a Padres jersey with a Phillies t-shirt or something, and like cheering when Austin would get a base hit, but then Aaron would strike him out the next time. It was just like, I can imagine the mental gymnastics, the emotions of cheering for your children.
How do you react?
Because they would actually face each other. Like these two football players, they're never going to be like, are they going to be like interacting with each other on the field, or they take the field at different times? They're not on the field at the same time, are they?
No. So they both play offense. So yeah, they'll never
be like crashing into each other. It's not that kind of a brother bond or whatever. Yeah. But still very fascinating. Yes. You guys can look out for that. Andy Reid, I've always thought he looks like a walrus. Like if you were to take a human and turn him into a walrus, and he's just so sweet. He's like the sweetest man. So he's a great man. But if you look for like the red, he's always wearing red because that's the Chiefs colors. The big red walrus guy. That's Andy Reid.
Well, his nickname is Big Red. Even before he went to the Chiefs, his nickname was Big Red.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I like Andy Reid. So this is a Super Bowl where, I mean, obviously I will be cheering for the Eagles, of course.
Good.
But if the Chiefs win, it's like, who better to win again than Andy Reid, right?
If they had never won one, like I'd maybe feel a little bit of that. But man, the Eagles got theirs 5 years ago. He got his like 3 or 4 years ago. At this point, there's no love lost for me.
Okay. All right, moving on.
But I mean, obviously, I will always feel happy.
All right, we've talked enough about football. That's all, you guys, for football talk. Moving on to some other things. Andy, who is the best looking Philadelphia Eagle? Who's the most attractive Philadelphia Eagle? I will tell you that my answer to this was always Zach Ertz when Zach Ertz was an Eagle. He was also a Believer. Shout out to our Believer brothers on the field. I always liked Zach Ertz, but then he got traded or something and went to another team.
Yes.
So I was wondering not only on the Eagle side, we'll get to the Chiefs too, but yeah, who do you think is the best looking Eagle out there that we can keep our eyes on this weekend?
Best looking. That's a good question.
You know this team more intimately than I do. I had to look at their roster earlier today.
I will say best dressed would definitely be Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, I'm telling you, go look at his pregame like suits. Dude is coming in sharp, and I mean sharp. Best looking. I don't know.
Well, that could be your answer because I know you like nice clothes. That's something that you find attractive. So there you go.
For sure. Yeah, we'll go
Devontae Smith. I looked up because I only knew like 5 of the names. So I was like, I don't even know who half these people are. But I will say Dallas Goedert caught my eye. He kind of looks like a lumberjack type. He's like a big guy. He's got long hair. He's got a beard.
South Dakota.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Doesn't he catches the balls, right? Is he a catcher?
Yes, he is a tight end. He's a tight end, much like
tight end.
Travis Kelce. Remember
I was like, Dallas Goedert. And then also I have this really soft spot for Gardner Minshew, who is like the backup quarterback, who's kind of like the weirdest looking guy, but also has this like quirky confidence, I think, about him that I find very attractive.
I will say he's not just a weird looking guy. He's a weird guy. And that's what I love about he's
so competent.
He is has anybody seen Napoleon Dynamite? Like he is Uncle Rico. Like I'm about to throw that football over them there mountains. Like that's Gardner Minshew. Like
so we're all cheering for the Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts to get hurt. So
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
Oh, and I will say that is one of the storylines I forgot to mention.
Oh, what's the storyline?
The two quarterbacks playing against each other.
They're both hurt.
Well, no. Actually, yes, kind of. So Jalen Hurts got hurt.
Limpy.
He got hurt maybe about with like 3 weeks to go in the season. Mahomes got hurt a few games. Both were MVP front runners going into the tail end of this season. Jalen Hurts was the front runner. He got hurt, and when he got hurt, he actually had to sit out a few games, and that's when Mahomes kind of jumped him. So there's going to be a little bit of storyline there, too, with they were both MVP candidates. Jalen Hurts was the front runner. Then he got hurt. Mahomes leapfrogged him. He'll probably win MVP. I think they'll announce that maybe the day before the Super Bowl. I can't remember. But anyways, they'll announce that soon. And then, so that's going to be a storyline as well of like, oh, well, Jalen Hurts was MVP candidate, then yada, yada.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. They're both a little gimpy, both a little hurt, I think. So that'll be interesting to watch the quarterbacks. Let's see. Who else did I have as attractive on this game? I was also looking at the Chiefs roster. Okay, so I find Patrick Mahomes very attractive and very cool. He just seems like a cool guy, don't you think?
No,
he's in all those State Farm commercials. He's so funny. I like him. I like him a lot.
I'm over it.
He's
I'm
so
over
cool.
It. I'm tired of the State Farm commercials. I'm tired of him cool saying I love bubble baths.
Oh, so maybe our listeners have seen the commercial. Andy Reid is in the commercial on the airplane.
That's a good commercial.
Where he's drawing mustaches. I still don't understand it. He's got this fetish for drawing mustaches on people on the plane. And then Patrick Mahomes comes up on the plane after he fell asleep and said, "Coach, it happened again." Like there's somebody on the plane drawing mustaches on their faces and nobody knows that it's Andy Reid because he just loves doing that, I guess.
Yeah.
And somehow that ties into buy State Farm insurance. I'm not sure how that ties into that, but
I don't know. But I mean, it's a
I
good
find him
commercial.
charming.
I find him annoying. I'm over Patrick Mahomes. Worse than Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes' brother. And if you want
so much brother talk on this episode,
you want to be sick to your stomach, go watch his TikToks. He's the worst. He's the worst. The worst.
That sounds right up our alley. Our listeners love people who are the worst, so we're gonna check that out.
Yes.
What's his name?
If Jackson Mahomes, and if
Jackson
that name
Mahomes.
doesn't just annoy you,
we're gonna check out Jackson Mahomes. Okay. I also looked up. I don't know if you know any of these names. Harrison Butker. Do you know that name?
I know the name. I don't know what he looks like.
He seemed attractive. I don't know. And then there's this guy, Tommy Townsend, with like long hair. I checked out the Chiefs roster today, and those were the names that jumped out.
Tommy Townsend sounds like a 1920s baseball player.
So check out the Chiefs and the Eagles this weekend. Let us know, listeners, if someone catches your eye on the sidelines, let us know. And we'll go from there. Okay, so we had a bunch of Yobber feedback. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
There's one guy who wrote 5 questions rapid fire, and I think a couple of them are not really relevant here. Number 1, who do I root for?
Eagles.
This is an Eagles podcast at this point. We do have our KC people listening though. So what's up? What's up, KC?
What's up?
I know you're up.
I hope you lose.
Why should I care about who I root for? Why should people care about rooting for the Eagles?
If you don't want to care, then don't. That's my answer. Like, don't
right.
feel pressured to like root for somebody. Should you root for the Eagles? Yes. If you don't care,
it would make me happy.
That's
it would
fine.
make Andy happy. Yeah, that would be.
All I'll say is, if you're at a party and there are people really into the game, yeah, let them just be into the game. You be into the snacks. That's fine. You can be into the commercials. That's fine. You know, there's going to be a little gap. It's okay to have a little gap.
You know, wasn't there, speaking of commercials, wasn't last year like the big commercial was the crypto commercial, and now this crypto company is bankrupt like a year later?
Yes.
What in the world?
Yes. That's a whole thing.
I guess the Super Bowl
Tom Brady was
advertising
involved. Yeah.
Okay. Along the lines of who do I root for? Why do I root for them? Someone who lives in the city of brotherly love commented and responded, if you're looking for a team to root for, I'd suggest the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not biased at all. And then he said this, I don't know if you're aware of this, Andy, but the first openly gay NFL player to come out while still playing football professionally is Nassib?
Nassib?
This guy?
Yeah, I mean, I know the name. I
think it's
actually didn't know
Carl
that.
Nassib. Carl Nassib, so he currently plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but grew up in Westchester, Pennsylvania, grew up cheering for the Philadelphia Eagles, was an Eagles fan growing up. So clearly your support belongs with his hometown team. So there's a shout out. If you're looking for a gay tie-in to the National Football League, there we go. The Philadelphia Eagles.
If you were looking for one, you found one.
He's not playing for the Eagles.
Not too many people are looking for that, but okay.
There we go. There's the tie-in.
tie-in.
So now who are the big players this year that we should be aware of? I feel like we've named most of them. Is there any other big names out there from this game? I feel like you rattled off a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, let's see. From the offensive side, let's go offense for both teams. Jalen Hurts is the big one for the Eagles. A.J. Brown, definitely pay attention to that name. He really, really good wide receiver for the Eagles. Miles Sanders, he's our starting running back. That's a really big name to pay attention to. Those are really the big offensive names for us. For the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Those are really the big names. Jerick McKinnon, on the defensive side for the Eagles, a lot of big names. Hassan Reddick, definitely pay attention to that name. One other storyline to note, the Eagles had 70 sacks this year, which that probably means nothing to you guys.
Whoa, that's a lot, I think.
It was the I think, second most sacks in NFL history in a season. An interesting stat to
is
note.
where you tackle the quarterback.
You tackle the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage. Yes.
There we go.
So Hassan Reddick, he was an NFL Defensive Player of the Year candidate, or he was kind of in that realm. So definitely pay attention to him. Darius Slay, which is an awesome football name. Darius Slay for the Eagles.
That's a good one. Our listeners can say Slay at this party.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we're out of time about players.
There you go. Those are the names.
A lot of good names. Let's see. And then how do I console my straight fans when their team loses? Andy, how do I console you if the Eagles lose this game? How am I going to console you? What do you want? Do you want ice cream? Do you want to go out for something, a drink or two, or what do you need?
Here's the thing. I don't want to be consoled. I want to sulk. I want to be left alone. Let me... Because it's a game like that. That's the thing. Your friends know it's a game. It's silly. It's fun, and it's supposed to be fun. And it's mostly fun when your team wins. And when your team doesn't win, it kind of stops being fun, and you have to come back to the reality of, it was just a game. So that's just a mental place they just have to get to naturally. Let them figure that out. Just say, man,
okay,
next year. Hit them with the old next year.
I forgot to say that I'm watching this game with you, by the way. And I'm pretty sure the last time I watched the Super Bowl with you was the last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and we won.
6 years ago? 5 years ago?
5 years.
5 years ago, yeah. I was with you in the city of Choo-Choos, and they won. And we got some covert video of you celebrating over a fumble or something. So it was really great. I'm hoping it was the
play that sealed the game. Yep.
Everybody follow me on Instagram at ThomasMarkZ, and you can get some behind-the-scenes footage of Andy at the Super Bowl, because I'm hoping for like a big freak out moment. You're not allowed to curse.
Oh boy.
You may not use language. If it's used live on my Insta story, please forgive my brother if he does. I'm not saying that you will or won't.
Lord forgive me.
Use that language. Our mother would be
irate.
Horrified. Okay, I think that's all I have on the football front. Now, here was a funny exchange because the segues to the rest of our episode. We got a little bit of sand. We got a little bit of sand left. It's almost out, but we got some time. I posted for the YOBBERS and said, hey, do you have any thoughts, any feedback on this episode about the Super Bowl? And somebody said this. I mean, I find sports at the Rihanna concert a bit unnecessary, but I guess we got to throw the straights a bone.
Sure.
So there are plenty of people in our community really looking forward to this Rihanna concert. And then there's football happening as well, but it's the Rihanna concert that they're looking forward to. And I texted you about this, and you literally, what did you say to me? What was your text? It was so matter of fact.
You said, I want to know your thoughts on the Rihanna aspect. And I said, not a single one.
He can rattle off the 12 best defensive players in this game. He has no thoughts on Rihanna.
Yeah. She did Umbrella. Was she the one who did the Umbrella? Ella.
She did Umbrella. Yes. Okay, so I'm not the best person to discuss Rihanna. I could bring on a slew of my other brothers to talk about Rihanna, because she did that song. She did that song I really liked with Eminem, with like the fire burning tornado collides with the volcano. What was that song?
I mean, that sounds
I'm going to
familiar.
stay here and. I love The Way You Lie. I think that's
okay. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah,
it's like super hardcore and intense. Yeah, I really love
it's that that dysfunctional love type thing. Yeah,
dysfunctional love. Yes, just to put it least, there could be some therapy required in that relationship that's happening in that song. But that's a song.
1,000%.
Okay, and so then someone else responded to that comment because this was on a public discussion. Someone else said, "Is this Rihanna person another one of those divas I'm supposed to like just because I'm gay?" And then someone else said, "You're supposed to like her because she is a brilliant, multi-talented recording artist, businesswoman, style goddess, etc., etc." And then someone else said, "Amen, hallelujah, yes, God." So there is clearly a lot of love and support, and there's lots of hearts and emojis that were for all of these comments. So a lot of love, a lot of support going for Rihanna in this Super Bowl halftime show. The only thing that comes to mind that I wanted to discuss was, did you hear about the whole thing with Stephen A. Smith about Rihanna?
All I saw
So Stephen A. Smith, he's this black football. I don't know if he does football analysis or he does lots of sports analysis.
He does
on
sports.
ESPN. But like he had some thoughts about Rihanna. What did you hear?
All I saw was that he apologized like 40 times on Twitter to Rihanna for something. And
I know the
hardly
story.
wanted to learn, and I also didn't want to. But yes, please inform me.
Someone asked him, he was like on Kelly Clarkson, or he was on some talk show, and someone asked him, what do you think about Rihanna doing the halftime show this year? And he said, I'm paraphrasing. He said, look, I love Rihanna, but she's not Beyonce. And when he said she's not Beyonce, the internet went crazy and attacked him. But then the funniest thing to me was not just that comment. It was his apology video where he's like in the back of a limousine or something. And he's got this awkward camera angle and he's like hunched over and talking into the camera and he's speaking to Rihanna directly. And he speaks to her so condescendingly. He's like, listen, sweetie, I'm so sorry. You're talented. You're the best. He called her sweetie, like so condescending. Like, the tone of it was so weird that he was apologizing. And then he had to like apologize for that condescending video of an apology to her. So Stephen A. Smith, he kind of made a lot of enemies over this seemingly innocent comment that she's not Beyonce, which is true, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. She's Rihanna.
Yes. Again,
she's a business. I'm quoting a businesswoman style goddess. There you go. There's Rihanna's comment. That's the Rihanna scoop here on
there's
the
one person on Sunday I'm interested in watching Slay, and it's Darius Slay. Okay, that's it.
I'm sure Rihanna is going to slay. Rihanna will slay. Sure. I just remember, do you remember that one halftime show where there was this guy that was like trapped in a box? He was like in a maze and the camera, he was trying to get out of the box.
Oh yeah, that was that? Oh yeah,
was that last year?
I forgot that guy.
I don't know if that was last year or the year before that. That was a weird halftime. The halftime shows are either really good or really weird. Like it's like one or the other. I feel like every time I see these things.
Yep. I'm sure this one would be fun.
Who would you pick? So you clearly wouldn't pick Rihanna for the halftime show. Who would you pick for your ideal Super Bowl halftime show?
Well, here's the thing. Like, it would be very Andy personalized. Like, because at the end of the day, like, they're always going to go poppy and they're always going to go like, who are the kids listening to? And that's just nothing that I listen to anymore. And like, so, I mean, the bands I like are like, you know, garage rock bands, and they would not be in that world. So
it doesn't have enough appeal.
I'd say the most poppy, if you want to put it that, the most mainstream artist that I listen to is Kendrick Lamar, and I think he would do a good halftime show.
Kendrick Lamar, look for him in Super Bowl XVIII. Maybe.
Ella.
Well, this was good, Andy. I think we covered a good cross section of this game. We talked about the game, the players, the halftime show, a lot of the storylines happening, and I'm excited to watch this game with you in person and to hang out and to see your new house. You've lived in this house for a year now, and I've still never been there. So I'm excited to check it out. It'll be a whole new world.
Come on down.
I'm coming really soon.
Sweet.
I can't wait.
All right.
So I guess we should get you out of here on a prediction. What's the big prediction? Have you been tossing around numbers in your head?
Yes, like sugar plum fairies. I think I like the Birds in this one, obviously, and I've just felt confident.
The Birds are the Eagles, for those that are listening.
Yes, correct, not the Chiefs. I like the Birds. I've felt confident in the Eagles all season long, and all season long I've just been. I've been right on, so I feel good about it. I think it's going to be a strong offensive battle. I got Philadelphia 31 and Kansas City 21. 31-21, Birds by 10.
Whoa. 31-21. You know, I was with my dear sweet parents last weekend for the last round of games, and our mother is so cute because she was predicting scores as well. And I was like, she was predicting the scores for both of the league championship games, and they were both, I forget what they were. It was something like 28-14 or 28-21. And like, to myself, I'm thinking like, mother, you're just picking numbers that are multipliers of 7.
Yes,
because that's what
correct.
touchdowns are. Like, they can also score other things. They can score field goals, or they can miss extra points or go for 2 points when you get a touchdown. But she was always going by the 7s. So in the spirit of my mother, I'm going to say Eagles 28, Chiefs 21. There we go.
28-21. There you go.
Nice
Lock
and
it
simple.
in.
4 touchdowns to 3
in.
touchdowns. That's what we got.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. And Andy, you'll have to come back next year when
The Eagles are back in it.
No, I was going to say we missed out this year on a Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy Super Bowl. We were deprived. We were so deprived.
That game would have been deprived.
So I didn't know about Joe Burrow until last year when you talked about him and you said something like he looks like Macaulay Culkin grown up or something.
He does.
Something of that nature. But he smokes cigars all the time. He's kind of got this bad boy energy. I was very entranced and intrigued by Joe Burrow, and I followed him all year. I was really cheering for him to be in this game. But
Joe Burrow's great.
We got the Chiefs instead of the Bengals. But maybe next year it'll be Joe Burrow and the Eagles.
Jalen Hurts.
What do you think?
Let's go. I'm in.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm
in. Okay. We'll put in our votes for that.
Lock it in.
Well, everyone listening, enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy the big game, as they call it. Let us know afterward what you thought of the game, or maybe more suitably, what you thought about the Rihanna halftime show, or what your favorite commercial was. That's always a big one. I always enjoyed trying to figure out what the best commercial is. I love a Jeep commercial every year. The Jeep commercials get me. They inspire me.
There's already a commercial out that's already been my favorite commercial in years. And I hate that they're releasing these commercials early. Yeah, they do that. I don't know why. Anyways, if anyone here is fans of Breaking Bad, there is a Pop Corners commercial that's out there. Go ahead and look that up. It's really good.
Oh.
The whole gang's back.
I have no idea what that is, but I hear that's a show that people love.
Breaking Bad. Yeah, it's about meth.
We don't talk about meth here. We just talk about homosexuality.
Heroin. Oh, okay.
All right, brother Andy. So good seeing you. I can't wait to
Always a
see
pleasure.
you soon. Always a pleasure. Maybe you'll come back before next year's Super Bowl. That should be it.
Yeah. Invite me whenever.
We'll have to find another topic. Yeah, that'd be great. All right, friends. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And until we cast our next convo, go Eagles.
Fly. Eagles fly. On the road to victory.
There it is. And we're back.
Can you hear me? How's my audio?
You're perfect.
Great.
You'll have to go through the whole charade again. So fittingly, sometimes Andy, sometimes in the NFL, sometimes in football games, they go into what they call overtime.
Yeah, man.
The game ends in a tie and they have to extend the clock. But unlike soccer, which makes no sense, and you have no idea when the game actually ends because the referee decides whenever it's done, there's more overtime rules, I think, in football that make a little bit more sense. Okay, so similar to that, there was a segment, we just finished recording, but there was a segment I wanted us to talk about, which are celebrities that you might see at this game / have affinities for these two teams. So I thought that would be worth discussing.
One might say, to answer the question from earlier, why you might root for these teams. Let these celebrities be your guide.
There you go. So if you want to follow the Eagles, look at these celebrities. If you want to cheer for the Chiefs, if that's you, then check out these celebrities. Okay, so who do you got? Because I literally don't even know who cheers for these teams.
Where should we start?
Let's start with the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go with the opposition on this podcast.
Okay.
Who cheers for the Chiefs?
Let's get the big one out of the way. He is lovable and like it's impossible to hate this guy. Paul Rudd, big Kansas City Chiefs fan.
You're kidding. Paul Rudd?
Yeah.
Is he from Kansas City? Go ahead and rip that
Band-Aid right off. Think so.
Well, that's it. That's a slam dunk. I feel like the listeners are on the Chiefs side now.
Yep. Go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off.
He's got the sweetest little smirky face.
Yeah,
Paul Rudd. He's just like,
he likes life. He's one of those guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Rock star Melissa Etheridge on occasion sings the national anthem before games at Arrowhead Stadium.
Do we got any Melissa Etheridge fans out there? I'm sure we do.
She's basically taking over the halftime show. Let's see. Actor Jason Sudeikis. He's a big one.
Oh, what's his face? Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso. Okay.
Yeah, another guy who likes life. Heidi Gardner. Let's see. Henry Cavill. He's a big one.
No way.
Formerly Superman. Not Superman anymore.
Are you reading this off of like BuzzFeed? What website are you taking this from?
I am on a website titled ESPN ESPN. Let's see what else. Rob Riggle. I hate Rob Riggle. I'm over it. Okay, there you go. Those are your Chiefs fans.
It was a steep decline after Paul Rudd, but that is a big one. That's a big get for KC people. Okay, so now Philadelphia, Philadelphia Eagles. Who we got?
Yep. If anyone has heard of or seen the movie Silver Linings Playbook, this will be no surprise. Actor Bradley Cooper, big time Philadelphia fan. Also
in that movie with Lady Gaga. What was that movie?
Star is Born.
There we go. That's a big one. Big song.
Very big one.
Big movie.
So he plays an Eagles fan in that movie, Silver Linings Playbook, not A Star is Born. Let's see. Modern Family actress Sofia Vergara.
No way. She's for the Eagles?
Yep,
wow.
Eagles
I
fan.
love her.
Let's see. Baseball fans such as yourself know this one. Mike Trout. Big Eagles fan.
Mike Trout. Yeah.
Yep. He constantly at Eagles games. Will Smith. That's the big one. The
of
Fresh
course.
Prince. Yep.
West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Which, by the way, at the NFC Championship game, DJ Jazzy Jeff was right there on the sidelines throughout the whole game.
I saw DJ Jazzy Jeff. Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in many days.
It just rolls right off the tongue. It feels so right.
Yep. Anyone who watches It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, obvious. Danny DeVito, Rob McElhaney. Those are the big guys.
That show, I think I distinctly remember having a podcast conversation with you. I think it was on a podcast where I think that show, I want to like that show, and it is the most obnoxious show that I cannot, for the life of me, get into.
I love it. It is very obnoxious.
And it's been going on for like 20 years.
Self-aware.
It's like this show that cannot die. It's one of those shows. Yeah,
correct.
But that whole crew in Philadelphia. There you go. Yeah.
Let's see. Who else? Let's skip that. Bill Cosby. We'll skip on to the next one. Let's see. Mark Wahlberg. He's a big
Mark Wahlberg.
Actually, he's technically a Patriots fan. He's a Boston guy, but he played an Eagles player in one of his movies, so he's kind of like
that's right.
Yeah. Let's see. Questlove, drummer for The Roots.
The Roots. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Tonight Show.
Yep. And of course, Tina Fey. Big Philly gal.
Tina Fey. Yes, exactly.
Let's see.
There's a lot of Philadelphia. Yeah, there's definitely, I think Philadelphia has got way more quantity just by virtue of it being a bigger city and East Coast town.
Yeah.
It's going to draw more of a crowd than our beloved Midwestern town of Kansas City.
For sure.
But that's cool.
Yeah, those are the big ones. Okay.
And then, of course, of your other brother's podcast, Thomas Mark Zuniga for the Philadelphia Eagles, and occasional guest of the show, Andrew Zuniga.
Big fan as well.
Eagles. So there we go. Add them to the list.
Actress Tara Reid has been a long Eagles fan.
There's so many celebrities. I wonder who Rihanna's cheering for.
I hope she wears a split Eagles Chiefs jersey like Mama Kelsey does. That's my hope.
Oh yeah, Mama Kelsey. All right, Andy. I think overtime is over now. We had to get that in, but we did it.
That is all,
everybody. Go celebrities.
Go Birds.